Give a warm Kansas City welcome to Deep Sea Diver. It is just really great to have you back in Kansas City. I've been, getting ready for the interview, I've been stunned at how many times I've heard you reference shows in Kansas City. I guess you played Riot Room and the Madrid, and yeah.
And with other bands too. I know when I was in the Shins, we played here, I'm sure. And so, yeah, it's a beloved place for us. Congratulations
on Billboard Heart. It's just an amazing record.
Thank you so much.
I was a little surprised when I found out that the album was inspired in part by the film Paris, Texas. And the title of the album itself is a bit of a nod.
It is, yeah. There's that scene where they're up on the billboard and he says, "I'm not afraid of heights. I'm just afraid of falling." It's a classic scene. I feel that very much so.
So that sort of jettisoning fear, looking for freedom, spontaneity, all of that, making a record really feel like it's a living, breathing thing. That was sort of the mantra, the goal.
Definitely. I wanted this record to feel like open road and spacious, like a new world, a new door had opened. And so, this is our fourth record now. Is that right? Yes. I was like, did I make another one? Forget about it.
Well, you throw in the EPs and it gets a little confusing,
right, So, I wanted newness, and I feel like we got there.
So, speaking of Billboard Heart and that freedom, that song, at least in the studio, inadvertently turned into a 7-minute jam.
Yeah, it was one of those magic moments that you can't plan. We didn't say, we just rolled tape and I was just like, arrangement-wise, maybe we'll just kind of loop the chorus at the end. And everyone was just in it. And it was magical and musical and pretty much all one take. I think we did a few overdubs at the end, but it's like that kind of improv where everything just works and you just say, don't touch it.
Yeah. Part of that looking for freedom also was working from home studio. And I guess, What Do I Know was the first track that you really just did start to finish, but you weren't really thinking you were making one for the record, right?
That's true. Yeah, so I have a home studio and I love engineering, but never really thought that I could do everything. I've recorded my own vocals or a guitar or a synthesizer here and there, but drums are a whole nother beast. And I just got really into that Smile record that came out, the first Smile record. And I love Nigel Godrich's engineering, and I was like, well, let's just see if I can get good drum sounds. And I rented all these microphones, and then when it was done, I was like, this is good, but it's probably not the thing. And then it wasn't until my co-producer was like, yeah, that's pretty sweet. Let's keep it. I'll take it. So, yeah.
All right. We're speaking with Jessica Dobson of Deep Sea Diver. Deep Sea Diver playing tonight at Record Bar, new album Billboard Heart, and she's joined in the studio today by Elliott Jackson on synths. I'm just geeky enough to get all wrapped up in nature versus nurture. And luckily, I think you had both. There are a lot of people who are driving down the road while their 2.5-year-old is in the car safety seat singing along to the Beatles, but I think your mom really kind of freaked out when you did it for the first time and you decided to sing the harmony part.
Yeah, actually it's one of my first memories. I think it was a song that didn't even have a harmony on it, but I sang the harmonies. My mom was like, excuse me? I love singing harmonies. It's in my blood, I guess. But my mom, who adopted me, is also a singer, and she was really excited that she had a musical kid.
Yeah, and they seem to have fed that piano at 5. Mm-hmm. So you were, even at the age of 5, you decided that you were far more interested in doing your own material as opposed to covering Bach or Beethoven or.
Yeah, I wrote this waltz that I brought to my piano teacher, and she was like, you were supposed to learn this song. I was like, but I wrote this one. So, yeah.
And it was a little inspired by ragtime, right?
Yeah, my dad played a lot of that kind of music.
You're just down the road from Sedalia. which is where Scott Joplin lives
Oh, really?
from.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. They have a big ragtime festival
Amazing.
down there. So, yeah, have to come back sometime for that. So, guitar at 11, though, that was really feels like that was life-changing.
Definitely. My aunt bought me just like a cheap kind of Stratocaster knockoff at Guitar Center and a little like battery-powered amp, and I just brought it everywhere with me and lived with that thing for, I guess, until now.
Yes. So, you still were like writing songs and all that, but you did still learn a few songs that you really liked, songs like Loser and Where It's At, and then 10 years later, you're still playing them. Yeah. Under slightly different circumstances.
Yeah, with the Beck.
So when you got the job playing guitar for Beck on tour, how many songs did you have to learn?
Well, when I first tried out for it, I think I had to learn 10, and I just locked myself into a studio, and I was just trying out for fun. I didn't think I was going to get it, and then I got it, and I had to learn like 40 songs, yeah. And he was always like mixing it up. He would just add stuff all the time, or like, toss the rug out and just be like, we're going to play this way now. Kind of had to be on your feet.
I have friends at record labels who tell me that it's really hard to get him to release a record, and that they will have like 10, 15 versions of the same song sitting on their desk.
Yeah. He's very opinionated, and the best he's an artist,
So were you able to pull anything from your work in 6th grade in those songs? Or did you have to...
I already knew those. I was like,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like nuanced things that I feel like with Beck, that's kind of expanded the pedal world for me, where it was like I needed to figure out how to get some of those tones over so many records that I loved, and yeah, it was a really fun experience.
A lot of kids get in trouble for, texting with their friends late at night or reading comic books or, whatever. I mean, that's probably from my generation, but you got in trouble for playing the guitar under the covers.
Yeah. My mom, she would hear me through like the vents. Go to bed.
Compelled much?
Yeah.
The Beck thing is amazing. You were a member of the Shins. You've played with Conor Oberst, Divine Fits, Karen O with the Yeah, Yeah, Yeahs, and a lot more. And, if you're just into it for the name dropping, that's a really, really good list, right? But to me, it's sort of like all of those stops along the way were the things that developed that 2.5-year-old kid in the child seat.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I was really lucky to kind of, by osmosis, gather so many things from all of those bands and lead singers, especially Karen O, who's this shy person off stage, but on stage just rages. And I was like, oh, I want to channel more of that energy as a performer. And with the Shins, like, James really trusted me to bring a lot of those parts that were, I grew up listening to, just that were so very alive. And it all adds up. And I took a lot from it.
Speaking with Jessica Dobson of Deep Sea Diver, and of course Deep Sea Diver in our studios today, playing at Record Bar tonight. And I want to get back to Billboard Heart. It's just a really great record. And I know that your songs develop differently. They're not all done the same way. But when you got done with a lot of the studio work, you felt like you still needed to do some work on lyrics. So you went to a cabin and you got snowed in.
I did.
Was that perfect?
Yeah, it was also really creepy. As I was on an island and like didn't know anyone. What's that film where that lady gets stolen by she's a writer and a guy's obsessed with her. It's from the 80s. You guys know this movie, and some bad things happen. Misery, yeah. I was like, what's gonna happen to me? I don't know. Yeah, Kathy Bates. She was a great psycho. I was, I don't know
And
if there's any psychos on the island.
If you're on an island, you're probably not going to get a St. Bernard with a little barrel of whiskey either.
Yeah. But I got quiet there, that's for sure. And that's what I needed to finish the record, yeah.
It's funny, your Madison Cunningham is a friend of yours.
Yeah.
And she's on the record on Let Me Go. Mm-hmm. And she'd come to visit, and you all were kind of maybe working a little bit on some, but nothing really ever came up, and then you went by the studio, and a song just happened by itself.
That's the best way. I wish every song could happen like that. We were just leaving the studio basically because we didn't have anything to record, and thankfully my co-producer Andy Park was just ready for it because he just kind of knew. I was playing a riff that I wrote in high school. What is it? Spin Around Forever. And she started playing to it, but she is her own person, her own amazing musical mind, brought something totally different to it. And I just see my producer bringing out a drum machine, like pressing record, and we just had the song almost completely done within like an hour.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
You know, one of the other things I thought was really super interesting about, the lead up to Billboard Heart was you went out and you opened for Pearl Jam, and you tested out these songs in front of arenas full of people, which is like, that's a large test group.
Yeah, and like, Pearl Jam fans are like very committed to we see so many of the same faces, and so you're kind of like trying stuff out, but also seeing familiar faces like, did you like this song last night? I'm not sure. But everyone was really on board, and Pearl Jam ended up inviting us back for a whole new round of tour dates, and that's where we got to try these songs out in the mighty arenas. But I don't know, it did show and reveal a lot, which was cool. I like to be open-handed with something, especially if it's, the deadline isn't there yet. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna scrap. We got really reckless, like by the end of the record. We're very free of just like, this isn't working, let's scrap it. Don't be too, what's the word? Precious with it, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, speaking of, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but speaking of the show tonight, are we gonna see the glowing guitar solo box?
I have it, yeah. Yeah, we brought it. It's like we have this box that I'll stand on sometimes. During the Pearl Jam tour is the only time it ever actually just said guitar solo box. It's kind of like Chekhov's gun. It's like, okay, when is she gonna get on the box? Because I didn't do it to the very end of the set, but it'd be a shame if I didn't stand on that thing. People would be pissed.
I know it sounds silly, but I would imagine that it just drives the crowd wild when you finally do get up on it.
There's an energy, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
There's another thing about life on the road that I'm pretty sure that we're not going to, hear about or experience in any way tonight because Kansas City, like all of our venues are clean and none of them smell like beer or anything like that. But, Elliott, who's here today, is in charge of smells on the tour.
Smell guy. Yes, Elliott has his own awesome brand called Cloak Scents that he's like, it used to be he just carried around a smell, like we're just, branding you right now. There's nothing worse than being in a van full of smelly people. He always had some kind of remedy, whether it was like Palo Santo or essential oils, and then eventually you just made it a thing, and we sell them at the merch booth. They smell really good. All natural. Yeah.
So will you have it at the merch booth tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We have a special Billboard Heart scent.
I was gonna ask, that's the follow-up question, because you have described albums in terms of color before, but I've never heard you describe your music in terms of scent.
Of scents, wow.
And did you work with Elliott to develop this scent, or?
This is one of my favorite scents that already existed, right? Yeah, it was in the studio, so it was an inspiring smell. Yeah.
And so if anybody wants to take the deep dive, Elliott, and by the way, you will need this, his full name is Elliott Jackson. You can go on Bandcamp. He has a 3-track EP that you can get called Observer. And there is also an Observer roll-on fragrance that you can get through Bandcamp.
Who's doing that? Support Elliott, because he's doing cool stuff. And he has a zine and cool stuff. He makes collage art. It's awesome.
Can I just tell you again how much we love the album and how good the band smells.
Thank you.
And we do really appreciate your time. We know you're out on tour, and coming by and doing this for us is such an amazing gift that you bring to us, and we can't thank you enough.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Jessica Dobson, Deep Sea Diver, the new album Billboard Heart. I'm assuming that it will be right next to the fragrances on the merch table tonight
I
at
hope
the
so.
record bar.
If everyone does their job right, yeah.
It can't be all fragrances all the time. Got to get some music in there too. This has just been really remarkable. Thank
Thank
you
you so much for having me. Thank you guys for coming by.
Deep Sea Diver on the Bridge.
Now available on 90.9 The Bridge YouTube.